Regulations for controlling sound pollution to be finalized this month, says Environment Advisor. United Nations Secretary General calls for an end to all forms of violence in Syria. And the ICC Champions Trophy to depart for South Africa tonight after a 4-day stay in Bangladesh as part of its world tour. Assalamu alaikum. I'm Tuli Komolika Das, welcoming you all to News at 10. You have just heard the highlights. Let's move on to the details. Tomorrow is 14th December, the Martyred Intellectuals Day. On the occasion of the day, various programs have been undertaken at national levels. President Muhammad Shahabuddin and Chief Advisor Professor Muhammad Yunus will pay homage by placing floral wreaths at Martyred Intellectuals Memorial in the capital's Mirpur in the morning. Bangladesh Television and other privately run TV channels will broadcast the program live. Marking the day, members of the Martyred Intellectuals Valiant Freedom Fighters as well as war-maimed valiant freedom fighters will pay tributes at Martyred Intellectuals Memorial in Mirpur and Rayar Bajar Mass Killing Ground Memorial, also known as Rayar Bajar Bodhbhumi Memorial. In addition, different political, social and professional organizations as well as people from all walks of life will pay tributes, marking the Martyred Intellectuals Day. Meanwhile, President Muhammad Shahabuddin and Chief Advisor Professor Muhammad Yunus issued separate messages marking the day. In his message, President Muhammad Shahabuddin called upon all to play an effective role from their respective positions to build a new Bangladesh inspired by the spirit of non-discrimination. In his message, Chief Advisor Muhammad Yunus called upon everyone to unite, resist and conspiracy by anti-liberation forces and fulfill their responsibilities from their respective positions. The foreign currency reserves of the country crossed $19 billion based on the healthy inflow of remittance and export earnings. According to the International Monetary Fund (IMF) calculation methods, now Bangladesh has the reserves of a little over $19.2 billion. However, the total reserves, including different funds of foreign currencies, have stood at $24.75 billion. On November 11, Bangladesh paid $1.5 billion through Asian Clearing Union (ACU) for the import bills of September and October. As a result, the reserve stood at $18.45 billion. But it has crossed $19 billion in the last 1 month. Concerned departments are hopeful that foreign currency reserves will reach $20 billion soon on account of positive inflow of remittance and export earnings. Environment, Forest and Climate Change Affairs Advisor Seda Rizwana Hassan said the sound pollution control law will soon be published as a gadget this month. She came up with the information while speaking at an awareness and driver retraining program on sound pollution control in the capital today. Gulshan Society arranged the function. Gulshan Society President Omar Sadat chaired the program while Rajuk Chairman retired Major General Muhammad Siddiqur Rahman Sarkar among others addressed it. The Environment Advisor said all societies in the capital will be brought under this training in phases. People are suffering from the pain of excessive horn. Sound pollution is creating a restive generation, she added. Later, Seda Rizwana Hassan visited the Gulshan Lake. July Shahid Smriti Foundation's General Secretary Sarjiz Alam is hopeful for building a new Bangladesh in a unison manner with the spirit of 2024. He said these at a gathering at the Institution of Diploma Engineers in the capital organized by Chapai-Nawabganj Forum today. Chapai-Nawabganj Forum Dhaka's President Nurul Islam Bulbul presided over the function. Former President's Military Secretary Lieutenant General retired Dr. Amirul Karim Rumi, Anti-Discrimination Student Movement's Coordinator Sadiq Qayyum, among others, spoke. July Shahid Smriti Foundation's General Secretary Sarjiz Alam called for taking the new Bangladesh ahead in a collective way. He said autocratic Sheikh Hasina had deprived northern regions of the country. Later, leaders of the July Spirit Foundation Later, leaders of the July Sriti Foundation handed over grants to the families of the martyrs and the injured, as well as local meritorious students. Staying in a foreign country, the fallen fascist Sheikh Hasina is hatching conspiracies so that people's voting rights, democracy, as well as independence and sovereignty cannot stand on strong base. BNP Secretary General Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir said this while presiding over discussion marking the Martyred Intellectuals Day at Engineers Institute in the capital today. BNP Standing Committee member Dr. Khandokar Mosharraf Hussain, Dr. Abdul Moin Khan, Selima Rahman, Salahuddin Ahmed, Major Retired Hafizuddin Ahmed, and Joint Secretary Shahiduddin Chaudhry Annie spoke at the meeting. BNP Publicity Secretary Sultan Salahuddin Tuku conducted the program. Earlier, prayers were offered seeking peace of the departed souls of martyred intellectuals. Now moving on to the international news. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres is deeply concerned over the hundreds of Israeli airstrikes on Syria, saying there is an urgent need to de-escalate violence on all fronts throughout the country, his spokesman said. Meanwhile, United States National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan has defended Israel's extensive attacks on Syria, saying Israeli forces are trying to neutralize potential threats. Israel has denied media reports that its troops have taken control of further Syrian territory, saying its soldiers are only operating in the occupied Golan Heights buffer zone to protect Israeli civilians. Jordan will host a crisis summit on Syria over the weekend to be attended by top diplomats from Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Lebanon, Egypt, UAE, Bahrain, Qatar, Turkey, US, European Union, and the UN. The UN envoy for Syria says images emerging from the notorious Sednaya prison and other detention facilities show the unimaginable barbarity suffered by Syrians for years. Palestinian authorities have said that at least 33 Palestinians have killed and wounded more than 50 people in an Israeli strike on the Nusayrat refugee camp in central Gaza as Israel continues to conduct devastating attacks across the Strip. The government media office in Gaza called the Thursday attack a barbaric and heinous massacre, noting that most of those killed hailed from the al-Sheikh Ali family. Medics told the news agency Reuters that Israeli fire struck a postal office in Nusayrat, sheltering displaced Palestinian families as well as nearby houses. Photographs from these scenes show young children coated with dust and blood in the rubble of a collapsed building. As of October 2024, the one-year anniversary of the war, Israeli strikes had completely wiped out at least 902 entire families in the Strip, according to the government media office in Gaza. In the time since, Israeli attacks have killed more than 44,800 Palestinians in Gaza, more than half of them women and children. United States President-elect Donald Trump has invited his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping to attend his inauguration ceremony in January, despite his history of hawkish rhetoric and tariff threats. On Thursday, Trump's incoming press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, confirmed reports of the invitation in an appearance on the conservative TV channel Fox News. She framed the invitation as an effort to strengthen ties between the two countries, long seen as rivals. Leavitt told the program Fox and Friends that this is an example of President Trump creating an open dialogue with leaders of countries that are not just U.S. allies but adversaries and competitors too. Experts say that it would be unprecedented for a Chinese leader to attend a U.S. presidential inauguration given the frosty relations that have persisted between the two countries for decades. Now back to the national news. The 16-member visiting delegation of Turkish International Jurist Union met BNP Chairperson's Foreign Affairs Advisory Committee. held at party chairperson's Gulshan office. The meeting discussed matters of mutual interest of the two countries. After the meeting, BNP Standing Committee member Amir Khusru Mahmood Chaudhry briefed newsmen. During the meeting, they also discussed Bangladesh's judicial system and bringing back home those who fled abroad and then ensure their fair trial. Member of Chairperson's Advisory Council and Chairperson's Foreign Advisory Committee, Tazvirul Islam, Party Organizing Secretary Shama Ubaid and International Affairs Secretary Barrister Nasruddin Oshim were present on the occasion. Bangladesh Television's YouTube channel currently has over 15 lakh subscribers. The love of netizens is infused into the state-owned television. In December of 2017, the YouTube channel was launched. Within 4